Okay. All right, awesome. Hey, Deirdre, thank you so much for joining me. I think this is a really fun way for us to discuss how we are going to be staying healthy through the holidays. So what I feel like this is all about is just the holiday season can get so crazy, and with all these sweet treats and nice hearty beverages and holiday parties and food and more food, and with the colder season and stuff, it's really hard for us to stay on point with our health and how to maintain our healthy status. So like, we're coming off of the summer season and we're getting into the cold and flu season. So I just wanted to kind of take some time to talk about, what works for you. What kind of things do you do that helps you to kind of stay more mindful throughout the holidays based on whether it's your eating, physical activity, nutrition, even sort of like your mental and spiritual health as well, because we know that plays a big part in keeping us healthy. So thank you so much for being here. So again, my name is Jana. For those of you who are joining on with us today, I am a retired massage therapist. I currently do run my own home-based business with USANA Health Sciences. I'm a kids yoga and mindfulness teacher and instructor. And Deirdre, you are a wonderful fitness instructor as well, certified personal trainer. You've got your precision nutrition certificate. You do yoga instruction. Like, what else don't you do, right? Like, you're just kind of a master of all trades. So thank you for being here. And I just kind of want to dive right on in. So I like to be physical. So let's maybe start with the physical aspects of being healthy.
That's funny. I actually started with that too.
Really? Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Totally on the same wavelength also. So, being a fitness instructor and being in yoga, like, what kind of things do you feel like you can share with people that can help us keep our heart rates elevated, kind of get into that cardio aspect, just kind of keep our bodies moving, even though we don't really want to go outside quite as much?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the main things for me, and I know for a lot of people, like over the holiday season, they kind of start to, even if they have a routine of exercise, they kind of let that go over the holiday season. And I think that's a mistake. I think even if you change it up and aren't doing as much as what you were doing before, or you're doing different activities, you still have to make time for your exercise. For myself, it's non-negotiable, because otherwise, my husband will even say, you need to go do a workout.
I love that. Being held accountable, right?
Yeah. I get cranky if I don't get my workouts in. It really is a time for me where I don't have to worry about, baking or getting dinner ready or who has enough presents, and all of that stuff can be pushed by the wayside. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I know that I'm still looking after myself. So if I do, trip up and have a couple of extra cookies or something, I don't feel quite as bad about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just making sure that you plan it in and just get it done. Because even if it may be cold out and you may not want to go out, but going for a walk in the woods is actually really refreshing.
Yes.
Even on a really, really cold day, if you wrap yourself up and, put a scarf on. I hate the cold. Like, I am such a suck when it comes to the cold, but I will actually still walk the dog every day, even when it's -20. And when I come in, I'm grateful that I did it.
Yeah, you feel so much better after getting out there, fresh air, just even like, I feel just moving the body and being like, I went outside today. Like, what did you do? Right?
Exactly. When people are complaining, and yeah, after I'm in, I probably won't go out again, but
that's okay.
Yeah. And then I'm getting some extra vitamin D, which we're so lacking right now.
Mm-hmm.
And even like yesterday, it wasn't too dark a day, but I kind of was like, oh, I don't want to go out. You feel kind of sleepy. We're kind of going into like hibernation mode. And I thought, I got to take the dog out. So I went out anyway. And I was like, oh, this is really nice.
Good. Oh, I love that. That's awesome. Walking, I think, is one of my favorite things to do, is just get outside. And a lot of the spaces that we go, so we go down to the Lynn Shores, So it's easy kind of just to kind of tootle around in amongst the trees, but where some of the spots are really open and you get a lot of that wind chill. But I feel like if we just put on some extra layers of like, I don't care what I look like, it just doesn't matter, I'm going to be warm, that we actually have a great time. And the faster you walk, the more your heart rate stays up, the warmer you stay. So, it's kind of like a win-win-win situation. You get outside, you get moving, you get your heart rate pumping, you're increasing your circulation. So what's not to like, other than maybe a little bit of cold on the face, but like you said, just put a scarf on or something and you'll be fine, right?
Scarf, some good moisturizer and a lip balm, is also good, right? To help protect against the wind chap. And when you're wearing all those extra clothes, you figure all that extra weight you're carrying around is helping to get the heart rate up, right? It's so much more difficult to walk in the winter than it is in the summertime, especially if there's snow.
Yes.
That can be quite a challenge, right? You can work up a good sweat doing that.
And one thing I enjoyed doing is James and I actually invested in some snowshoes one year, and I never had gone actual snowshoeing in for long time. And so when we're actually out there, it is quite the workout, and we didn't even have to go very far. It was just kind of making your own path, whether it's in your neighborhood or if you have a little spot of trees and stuff, just kind of going in around. That was a really great leg workout in its own. So, another way to make it fun and not, be so mundane, but you still get to be outside and kind of move, right?
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's sort of my recommendation, that, and trying to get in some real workouts too. And if you're feeling a little stressed, yoga is also a great alternative.
Yes. I completely agree, especially with hot yoga, because then you get the heat, right? So it's a good way to stay warm and kind of, keep limber, and that's always great too.
Yes, it is. And it just regrounds you. And if you don't like hot yoga, because I know a lot of people don't, I actually really enjoy it, but some people don't. So even if you're not doing hot yoga, it's just kind of regrounds you, makes you feel a little more centered and a little more balanced and able to take on again all the stuff that you got to do.
Definitely. One thing that I do find, a lot of people are like, oh, there's nothing to do. And people kind of get sort of get bored because you feel like, they have to go to a gym, have a membership, and that kind of thing. And so what I was doing is actually asking a lot of people, what do you do to stay active in the wintertime? And a few of the things were obviously hot yoga and yoga in general were one of them, but even winter activities like going skating, doing shoveling is always great. So as much as people don't like to shovel, I actually enjoy it because I find that, again, it gets my heart rate going. I get to have a little bit of a shoulder workout. As long as you're doing it properly, it's actually a full body workout too. Things like tobogganing, make it fun. Physical activity doesn't always have to feel like it's a workout. It can be anything that you can incorporate into your daily life. And another thing that I was thinking was indoor swimming. So I know your son is a swimmer, right? So it's not expensive. You can find, places everywhere that have family times that you can go. So it's go and do some laps. Go get those legs kicking and move your whole body, because it feels great. And especially if you're thinking about bathing suit season in the summertime, this way you don't maybe put on all that extra weight in the wintertime because you're still putting your bathing suit on, right? So bathing suit season's really all year round.
Yes. And swimming is a really good workout too.
Oh yeah.
For that long, half an hour of swimming some laps, and you've burned some pretty good calories. And the cool thing is you don't feel like you sweat because you're right. Yeah.
I love that. Cool. So you touched on a little bit of the nutritional. You mentioned vitamin D. Other than just kind of absorbing it for maybe a little bit of mood enhancement, do you find that it actually helps with anything else in your daily lifestyle, like by incorporating extra vitamin D? Because obviously it's cloudy, it's constant snow. Right now we're having lots of rain. It's really, our days are super, super short. So, how else do you feel like getting that vitamin D into your body will improve sort of your health? What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a definite must that you have to take vitamin D, especially at this time of year. I take it all year round, even in the summertime. even though I'm outside a lot, but right now I've even increased it. So right now I think I'm taking 6,000 I use, and you can take up to 10 safely. And
Yeah.
it makes a huge difference. Like if I don't take it, I ran out because I use USANA obviously.
Yeah.
And I ran out for a little bit and I really noticed it. Like I just felt more fatigued. You kind of feel this heaviness. You feel like hibernating really.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, once I get the vitamin D in, I feel a lot more energetic. And I actually noticed that I'm a little less cold too, surprisingly enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it warms you up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I think not because I am always cold, and
Yeah.
I'm a little less cold as long as I have good quality vitamin D and enough of it.
Okay, I like that. 6,000. Wow, that's a hefty number. I like that though. Like what I was researching on vitamin D actually is that not only, like you said, it helps to improve your mood and your energy, but it is actually a key component for your bones and your joints. So what I notice is that a lot of people tend to fall in the wintertime. You slip on the ice or anything like that, and you see a lot more fractures and bone breaks in the
Mhm.
wintertime. So I feel, and I'm not sure if you're on the same page or not, but I feel that increasing our vitamin D content will help to eliminate those potential major incidences in our lifestyles, right? So like if you break a bone, like your leg for example, like you're put out of commission for at least 6 weeks, and that's just healing the bone, but then all of the extra physio and stuff that comes on top of it, and this, it all snowballs into a lot of time off of either work or just recovery. Then you're off at the gym and all that kind of stuff, right? So like, have you ever come across that? Like, do you feel like that's something that plays a role?
I think for sure not taking a good quality supplement is definitely going to decrease the density of your bones and it's
Mhm.
going to make a big difference there. That and the exercise too. So what I tend to do in my classes around this time of year is I start to incorporate a lot of balance moves into my
Ooh,
workouts so that people's core starts to activate very quickly so that if they do slip on the ice, hopefully they don't go down because
I like
I
that.
want to prevent them from going down because yeah, like you said, when you break something, it could it's a possibility that you'll never fully recover from that. And
Mhm.
you'll never be back to where you were, especially depending on what your age is when you break that bone wherever it is. It can be a long process. And within a year after that break, you are still at a huge risk of re-injuring that same area. So then you're going to be more cautious about your workouts and cautious about going outside. And then it affects everything else, right? And you gain more weight, then you're heavier, then you're more likely to break something else. It's a snowball effect, right? Then you
Right.
get depressed and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. As long as we're on the same page, I'm like, that's what I kind of felt. And it was just something that I'm like, I never knew vitamin D was such a vital component. And being in Canada, being in the wintertime, like, yes, we should get it all year round. And we don't necessarily need it all time from the sun because you absorb it. So you need it every single day, a constant flow of vitamin D.
Yes. Well, it's
Um,
interesting because in the summer, a lot of people don't take their vitamin D because they think, they're outside a lot and that. But I recently learned that, and I don't think you were with me too when we learned this, that you only absorb the vitamin D between the hours of 10 and 2.
yes, I was there
Yes,
actually.
I
Yeah.
thought you were. So if you're working in an office environment over the summer and you're not getting outside between those hours, you're still not getting in enough vitamin D.
Right. And even if you're in the car, you're still not getting it. So if you're
That's
commuting during those times, working during those times,
yeah.
yeah, it's
Hugely
so important.
important. And if you are exercising, exercise actually leaches vitamin D out of your system. So you might even need extra, depending on the level you're exercising at.
That's why you take so much. Yeah. I like it. So kind of transitioning, I knew that vitamin D really helps to enhance mood. It's kind of literally the sunshine vitamin in the bottle. So with mood, what kind of things do you feel can also help to enhance mood, especially at this time of year? We're so stressed out, we're so hustle and bustle. We're trying to get everything done, and we really kind of lose the idea of being more present. So what kind of things do you feel like people can do and be more mindful of for their own mental health this time of year?
That is a huge question. So there's quite a few different things you can do. I mean, first of all, the going for a walk, being out in nature, things like that, and taking that time for yourself is vital, because at this time of year, everything, especially women, tend to put everything else aside and make it all about making the holidays perfect and making sure that everybody has the right amount of gifts, and there's 10 different types of cookies baked, and yeah, my son is already bugging me to bake cookies. I'm like, you're not baking them yet.
Yep.
The house is decorated, and there's all these shoulds we place on ourselves. Really, we should do this, we should do that, and at the end of the day, we end up putting ourselves at the bottom of that list, right, when really we should be the top. Because if we're not healthy and we're not feeling at our best, we're going to get cranky. I know for myself, if I'm feeling like I should, and I'm just doing, and someone comes in and asks for something, I'm more likely to snap at that person. Right. And it's supposed to be the holidays, and it's like, this great, it's not this Hallmark holiday anymore. Because now I'm yelling at everybody, and that's really not what it's all about. So kind of managing your expectations, I think, is huge. So kind of, as if you start to feel that resentment and that frustration that you're not getting that time for yourself, taking a moment and asking yourself, do I really need to do all this? Can I do something else that would better serve me right now so that I can make this environment a little happier? Because at the end of the day, whether your kids get 5 presents or 4 presents isn't going to be what they remember. What they're going to remember is how you were with them.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I totally agree. Absolutely. And that's the thing, like, I feel we're so caught up in pleasing everybody else and making sure that we come through on everything that we've claimed to do or said, I will do this and I will do that. And you put everything on your list, that not taking that time out for yourself really will ruin your, just your memories of everything, because like growing up, you expect all of these things. And then when the outcome isn't what you had expected, then it's disappointment. Right? So a lot of people, I find, don't like Christmas time because of all of this stress that's placed upon them to perform, to do the grand dinner, to have the big expensive presents under the trees. And really, like, you didn't take time to be present in the moment with the people that are around you. And so, like, for me, if I'm feeling really overwhelmed, which I have been, I've had a lot on my plate lately, juggling a lot of different things, but some things that I've decided to do for myself is as simple as taking a really nice hot bath, light up some candles, put a little bit of lavender or something, just to kind of like lighten my mood a little bit, go for a massage is amazing because we don't get that sense of touch as much. So, of course, coming from the massage world, I'm like, touch me, like I just want somebody to kind of rub my shoulders and be like, just calm down and be present and not kind of expect things, but enjoy things as they come, right? So it's like, if a friend popped over because they thought of me, don't think of it as an intrusion on my time. Think of it as, oh my goodness, somebody has thought of me and has taken the time to come and visit, or even a simple call or text and that kind of stuff. But I found like those kind of things really helped me be more grateful in the moment rather than expecting it to be a certain way. And when it's not, really being upset about it. It's like, no, it wasn't the present I expected. So now I'm disappointed. Like, no, you know what? I'm going to be grateful because that person decided to go out, buy me something that either they heard me say a long time ago or they thought this is a present that Jana would like. Whether you like it or not, that's a whole other thing, but be grateful for it, right? Yeah.
I think that's huge, that gratitude thing, right? And just taking that time. And if you are feeling, a little overwhelmed or stressed, writing 3 things in a journal every day, night or morning, that you're grateful for.
Journaling is huge.
Warmth of your bed. That's my favorite thing. Warmth of my bed.
I love that. Exactly.
So nice. I don't want to get out.
I even thought of self-care, like you mentioned, is using some good face creams for the cold air, but like even just doing that self-care of like, take the time to give yourself a facial and really appreciate the body that you live in, appreciate the skin. And so like, I love my CeraVe. That's just, everybody knows it. I'm like, I love this stuff because my skin gets super duper dry this time of year. And so when it gets dry, it gets all that tightness and it just feels awful. And then when it's tight, I actually see that it gets a lot more red. So, using a great product like that, it really helps to hydrate my skin. I've never felt anything like this before. And, I have kind of dry skin, but also oily. So it has to really be something that is more customizable. So, when I was thinking of self-care, I'm like, what else do I like to do? I'm like, I love to give myself a good facial, just kind of get all in there, practice your A's and O's and stuff. You'd be like, A, O. I know it kind of looks probably funny here, but that's kind of what I do. Because then I don't feel like I get super dry, especially like after a hot shower or a hot bath, or even because you're outside in the cold, that just like sucks up all the hydration from your skin.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so I find a lot of those kind of things are something that I like to do just for my mental health, let alone anything else. And I'm like, just to keep my sanity this time of year.
That's so true. One of my favorite things too is, to put on, because we have those new masks, right?
Yes.
Masks, but then taking like a warm cloth, like soaking it in some hot water and placing it over my eyes and lying down with some really calming music and just sort of meditating or just relaxing and breathing. I love to do that. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I'm like, right now, I'm like, oh yeah. I can imagine what it feels like. Like, oh yes.
Yeah.
Just talking about it makes me feel like a lot less stressed. I like that. Alrighty. So in terms of meditating, I feel like that kind of dives into more of a spiritual type of health, right? So, spiritual, a lot of people can kind of go one way or another, and I don't feel like either way is right or wrong. But I feel like meditating is one really great way to kind of connect to your inner self and kind of your universe. So whether it's you believe in God or if you believe in Buddha or just kind of, the source of the universe and life force energy, are there certain ways that you meditate or certain things that you do for meditation to kind of keep your spiritual health on track?
Well, I do a lot of different things. I recently did my Yin Yoga certification, which is really a practice where you're sort of meditating throughout the entire practice, but also stretching at the same time, which is something that I think really speaks to me because my background was in dance. So I was always stretching in the past, and now I'm kind of incorporating more of the mindfulness. So that's kind of one of my favorite things to do. But I also at night, just kind of calming down, and I have Reiki. So I do my, Reiki on myself and things like that, just to recenter and just get back to it. So I don't necessarily do a technique except for just trying to focus on my breath or just be really present. So if I'm feeling extremely scattered, which at this time of year, that tends to happen because those to-do lists, they don't like to shut up. And they want to stop, right? So they're constantly running through your mind. And as you're sitting or lying or whatever, position you want to be in, but you should be doing this and trying to focus on something else. So not judging that my mind is very busy right now and just being, it is busy right now. That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. But maybe focusing on the breath. What does the breath feel like as it enters my nose? What does it feel like as it exits my nose? What sounds am I hearing? What am I feeling around me? All of those senses. So incorporating the senses into it, because I cannot be in a to-do list, at the mall if I am sitting and really focusing on where I'm at that time.
Yeah.
It really forces you to become fully present right here, right now. And as we slow the breath down, automatically everything else will slow down too. Whether you know that the thoughts stop or not, that's not necessarily the goal. So not worrying that the thoughts aren't stopping, just being grateful that you took, even if it's 5 minutes, to
Yeah.
breathe.
Yeah.
That's another thing, is we don't breathe very well.
Totally. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I feel like I'm agreeing with a lot of things, but
That's good.
talking about the breathing, like I felt myself like wanting to breathe deeper and just kind of like, you know what? I feel like that's the thing is, if we're so caught up in like short little spurts of breath, you know, we're not getting the oxygen to the muscles, to the rest of the body. We're not getting the oxygen to the cells of your body. So really, we're kind of like, in a way, sort of drowning, I guess you could kind of say, because like if we're not getting enough air and the oxygen that we need to live and survive, it's kind of like you're underwater, right? So you're only just doing quick little spurts, and that's very anxious and panicky, and you know, and whereas when you slow it down, it really does allow you to just drop your shoulders and feel really more at peace.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Our system is totally in tune with our breath, right? So our actual nervous system will get into more fight or flight mode if we are not breathing properly, and we're doing those quick, shallow breaths as opposed to a deep, deep breath. And that is one thing that I do on a regular basis is, you know, the 3-part breath. So really breathing into the belly, and then breathing into the rib cage, and then up into the heart space. And that is something you can do even when you're driving, which is, don't close your eyes. I don't recommend closing your eyes while you're driving.
Maybe put it in a park first. Yeah.
But
totally.
You can still do the breath part of it while you're in the car, because that's a time when I find, you know, okay, I'm rushing to this place or that place, and you're starting to feel that fatigue and that anxiousness, but you're sitting for a moment, so you become a little more aware of it. And then taking that time to get back into that breath makes a huge difference. Even if you're feeling, you know, that 3 p.m. lull, especially if you've been digging into the cookies.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
It helps. Breathing really will help with that lull.
I like that. I do find, because we're always on the should list, and we're shoulding all over ourselves, literally, even saying affirmations. These are something that I kind of work on. It, you know, I sometimes forget, but even just kind of having something written, whether it's in the bathroom or somewhere in a common room that I can see my list of affirmations, and just, you know, reminding myself how amazing I am, and how, you know, just how I want to be more present and want to be more mindful. So like affirmations can just be like, you know, I'm 30, flirty, and fabulous, or you know, I am happy and I am healthy and I am in the best shape, physical shape and condition I can be. Whether it's true or not, it's kind of like, you know, having that premonition of what you want to be the outcome. So setting the intention for the day, I find really helps to harness my spirituality, because that's kind of setting the vibes and setting the energy that you want to put out there for the day. So it's like if you wake up late all the time and you're always rushing and you're always excusing everything, so you're making excuses for like everything that kind of happens. Whereas using an affirmation, starting your day off right, really allows you to kind of go out there with more of that intention, with less of that high anxiety type feeling. And it really just allows you to kind of like flow in and out of every day. And I feel like that has been something that's really allowed me to stay more on point, to not get so scattered, especially when all of these different events and meetings and business and work and, you know, doing all these different classes and everything. It's just one thing that I feel like if you start your day off right and know what it is you want to accomplish for either just the day, for the month, for the year, whatever it might be, that's one way to kind of just bring it all back.
No,
Right?
that's a great idea. And then you're feeding your mind with positive things, right? Instead of, our mind naturally goes to the negative all the
Right.
time. So shifting, I guess, that thought into the more positive, and then you'll be more grateful that you are busy. You do have a family that is counting on you for Christmas, and you do have people that are looking for all the cookies and things like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love that. And just one more thought on that. I feel like spirituality doesn't necessarily have to mean like a certain type of religion or anything per se, but it can also be making time to actually be social and um, not necessarily have to do with work stuff or this and that, but just kind of like being around like-minded people and like similar energetic people. I'm not saying like high energy, but I mean energy as in terms of like your vibration. Because I'm finding like it's really so easy to get caught up in everything. And then you're caught up in getting ready for your party. You're caught up in getting to the party. You're caught up because you got late and your pantyhose kind of ripped and all that kind of stuff. But, just taking the time out to be social with each other. So like whether it's doing maybe facial parties together, like self-care parties, having a girls' night or games night, and just having fun and remembering to laugh, and really raising your vibration with people that you want to be around. It doesn't necessarily have to be your family and stuff, because not all families are functional, and sometimes there are just people you just can't stand to be around, but you'll do it for the one day, that big holiday. But like that's what I was finding is like my social life was getting put to the side, and I wasn't finding the time to just go and be with people. So sometimes just being in the presence of other people that you enjoy, going for walks together, getting outside. So trying to do the like-minded things together, I feel will really help to increase that spirituality, increase your mindfulness, your happiness throughout the season. So you're just not less as stressed. But not making it like a bitch fest, like making it an empowerment fest. What are the successes going on in your life? Thank you for taking the time for hanging out with me. How can we do things together? And just playing even like, I love games, playing cards, like all that kind of stuff. So I feel like that really helps to add to the spirituality because you're feeling inclusive. Whereas Christmas time can be really lonely for a lot of people. It can be really down and out, with the seasonal affective disorder. So if you're sad, not having family that's local or around, I think this is a great way to help kind of build that. Because, as much as I don't want to talk about it, but there are a lot of suicides this time of year. And it's not always necessarily because of mental health disorders. It's sometimes because you're just so lonely that you don't think anyone is going to notice you're not there. So reaching out to people and saying, hey, can we just, get together for a coffee, or let's do a facial together, or let's go for a walk, play a game of cards, whatever it might be. I feel like that is one amazing way to kind of keep the cheerfulness of the holiday and not feel the burden of it weighing on you.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And I love the game idea because it gets you to put down your phone.
Yes. Oh, totally. Thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah. And it actually gets you to interact with somebody one-on-one rather than, through text message or whatever it is. We're actually going back to the old way of communicating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Becoming a thing of the past.
Yeah, even things like Scrabble, it can be 2-player, 3-player, whatever you want, but, be more present with the people you're with. Doesn't matter who's on the phone, doesn't matter who's texting you. I'm with this person right here, right now. They're going to get my time and attention. And I totally love that. Yeah.
Yes. And I think, because we are a society that has gotten so much into technology communication instead of one-on-one communication that we need it. We need that one-on-one. Like you said, you need touch, right? Mm-hmm. We need that one-on-one. And you said, you miss your friends because you're so involved in all the family activities, but having that time to talk to your friends is so important, especially for us women, right? Because we need to, even if we are bitching a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. We need to gab.
You need to gab, yes.
Yes, yes. And then I would say the last thing in terms of like health-wise, and a lot of people didn't really get this when I was kind of asking around with people, is, financial health. It's huge, right? We're always out there. A lot of people go into a lot of debt just buying the presents that they want to buy for people. And I feel like nobody really wants to talk about financial health. Nobody wants to consider it as a health aspect, but it really is, because if you're not financially healthy, it's actually diminishing a lot of the choices and opportunities that you can have for yourself and your families, right? So are there any tips or tricks that you might have in terms of finances, how to manage them? I know your husband's an accountant, so that's always a handy thing to have. But what are your insights on that?
I think it's important to not get carried away at this time of year with making sure that your kids get the best of everything, and that you're spending these ridiculous amount of money on items for them that is putting you in a position that's going to be painful later on for you financially. I know I got caught up in that in the past when the girls were little, and I would go and spend ridiculous amounts of money on Christmas because I thought that if I gave them all this stuff and they had all these great presents under the tree, they'd love me more, they'd be happier. And none of that is true. None of that is true at all. They could have, just one item under the tree, but if you're there with them and you have a family environment, that's what's going to make them happy. If I'm now cranky because I can't pay my next credit card bill, that's not helping anybody. So yeah, that's probably the number one thing. And I mean, remember too, I don't know if you were around when that Elmo craze was out, You remember Elmo? Yeah,
the Tickle Me one?
Tickle Me Elmo.
Yeah, okay.
And everybody was going nuts to buy, and they were buying like off of eBay for like 10 times the amount of money the thing was worth, just so their kid would have a Tickle Me Elmo under the tree because they couldn't tell them that Santa wasn't bringing it.
Right.
And that would cause so much stress. I mean, I never ran into that. I never ran down that road with things, but yeah, it's, if your kids are little at this point in time, let me tell you that there's going to be a lot of toys that don't get played with. My daughter is actually nannying right now part-time. She's in school part-time, but she nannies. And she was telling me today, the 7-year-old and the 2-year-old, and then there's an 18-month-old, they prefer to play with the box than the presents. She said, the parents keep buying them these great big presents, and all they're playing with is the box. So why are we putting ourselves into such financial stress over nothing? It's not worth it.
Absolutely. I find personally, like, budgeting throughout the year, although it sounds kind of crazy, is that I actually really start my Christmas shopping for next year after this Christmas, like December, January, and I will accumulate it all into the closet, and come the end of October, early November, I'll bring it all out. I'm like, I pretty much have everybody's stuff already done, so I really don't have to go out and shop. I really don't have to go out. I know. All I really have to do is actually wrap it and bring it there with me. So I'm always constantly thinking about things throughout the year and not just this time of year, because I find everything seems to be extra expensive right now. I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's like all of this financials all at once is a huge burden. But if you do like $20 gift here, $20 gift there, $40 gift here per month, it actually makes it more financially feasible for most people. But then at the same time, I do find that having like a part-time business on the side has helped me also to budget that. So this time of year with health and wellness and all that kind of stuff, having a health business on the side has really helped me to improve some of those finances. So that way this time of year is not as stressful, because I do have additional income coming in from other things other than my jobs that I do. So I know you're always doing different classes, and you always have different things on the go. So, is that something that you find makes a difference for you as well?
Oh, for sure. Because I can't teach classes 24 hours a day, right? Because it's just physically exhausting. So it's really nice having the business on the side. And sometimes, I haven't really pursued a lot in the business, and yet a check goes into my account. So that's always a really lovely surprise when I check my account and I'm like, oh, look at that, I got paid, and I didn't really work on it this week. So that's always lovely. So it certainly helps to pay for things.
Absolutely. And just kind of, I guess, touch a little bit more on that. I feel like the reason why I chose USANA was that there's actually 7 different ways to get paid with this type of business. And it's not just based on buying the product and selling it for more. It's, there's extra bonuses for like leadership, extra commission incentives. There's trips that people have won. A couple people just went to Bermuda. You know what I mean? Take me with you. That's my key for next year. But, like things like that, like you said, when you see extra money just happen to pop into your account that you didn't necessarily have to be present for, I think makes all the difference. It can really help to increase people's financial health, their mental health, their spiritual health, because again, when you have more money and financial options, the possibilities are endless, right? You don't feel like you're held back. You don't feel like as stressed out because you can't afford certain presents and stuff. Or say you want to do a big family vacation for Christmas time, it's something that you can save up all year and surprise them with something as little as a part-time business on the side. And the tax savings, I'm sure, your husband Ken is probably seeing some pretty awesome savings on that too, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like pretty much I don't pay taxes. I pay the, my CPP and my OAS, and that's it. But yeah, other than that, I'm not paying regular taxes that other people are paying, making the money I am making. So that's really nice.
Right. So it's like if people are spending roughly between like $3,000 and $9,000 in taxes every year, it's like, what could you do with $3,000 and $9,000 extra that's in your pocket just by having something that you're doing on the side in your extra spare time, if you have it? Like it's just that to me makes all the difference in the world as well. So I'm glad that you think so too.
Well, and it's such an easy thing to do too, because, you're just recommending a product. It's just like recommending a restaurant. It doesn't even really necessarily take that much extra time, right? So
exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else that you would like to add, or do we want to talk about the open houses that we have coming up?
Yes. My open house. I know. Yeah. So you're joining me with that. That's next Thursday.
Okay.
So I have it scheduled at 6:30. We're going to do a 30-minute bar class. So if anybody's ever seen or heard of bar, it's a takeoff on a ballet, but you don't need to be coordinated or anything like that to do it. But you will work arms, legs, core. Great workout there. And sorry, my dog's going to start barking in a minute. Somebody must be walking outside. Joey. And then, what did I say, 6:30? So 7:30. Joey. Sorry.
It's all right.
Can you come and get him, please? 7:30, we're doing a yoga class. It'll be a regular flow yoga. And then at 8:30, I'm going to do my first yin yoga for people. So,
that's exciting.
Yeah. So I've been incorporating a little bit of it into my regular yoga classes that I'm running now. And the response has been really great. Like I said, it's much slower. You don't do nearly as many moves. They're more stretching or more holding. And more mindfulness. So that's all free. And then in between all of those classes, we'll be doing some healthy, yummy snacks. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I love this because I think it's the best time of year to not only just kind of get people to get together, but we also can kind of showcase a little bit of the healthy things that we do. just to kind of keep our peace of mind and keep ourselves on track. And we, yes, we still indulge. Yes, we still get a little stressed out sometimes, but these are the things that we like to do to stay healthy, be more mindful, stay in our presence. And I love the fact that we're going to be doing some yummy treats and just kind of little sips and samples, I guess you could call them, and incorporating some amazing classes. That's really awesome. So that is Thursday, December the 6th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yep.
And then, and that's at your house here in Whitby.
Yes, it's in my home studio. I have a studio in the house. Yep.
And then if for any reason anyone is not able to make it to that one, we do have one going on December 14th, another holiday open house. This one's actually out in Woodbridge. So we've got a lot more sort of sips and samples going on there, some holiday recipes, some facial skincare tips and tricks. I can't even talk more about it. It just has so many things going on with that one. So that one's actually going to be a lot of fun. And that one is an all-day affair, but you don't have to go for all day. You can just kind of pop in and see what's going on from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday, December 14th out in Woodbridge. So should anyone like some information, you can always shout out to Deidre and I, and we can happily share that with you.
Yeah, people, I'll be going up. So if anybody wants to ride over with me, then yeah,
carpool. I like it. Me too.
Chat in the car on the way. Yeah.
Perfect. Alrighty. Well, if there's anything else you'd like to share, Deidre?
No, I think we've covered like a lot of good stuff. Like I said, I think, most important is to keep up your exercise, might be changed a little bit, but keeping it up, keep eating well, even though you are adding some treats into there. And vitamins are essential. For me, it's a must. For my family, it's a must. And then taking that time for you and making sure you're being mindful and present and not getting caught up in all of the shoulds.
Right. I love that. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Deidre, for, sharing your tips and tricks with me. I appreciate that. This is a lot of fun. There's just so many things that we could share. It's just so little time.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
Did you have a slide that you wanted to share?
No, I'm okay, actually. Okay. I think we've pretty much covered it all already. If anybody is interested in the open house, my website is dragonflyvitality.net, or you can email me at deirdre.derby@gmail.com, or I'm on Facebook too. So you can always send me a Facebook message.
Perfect. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We hope you got a lot of takeaways from our little conversation that we had going on here. And again, should you have any questions, concerns, please shout out to Deidre or myself. My email is Janna, JANNA.James@outlook.com. I'm also on Facebook. So please reach out and connect. You don't have to go through the holidays alone, and it does not have to be stressful. We got you. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
I love
you.
that, Janna. All right. Bye.